the pump.
27.
One of yours was an automatic shotgun.
Mr. Kidd, how are you?
Good.
Pay 10 bucks.
CVA muzzle
Wild game
loader.
dinner. That's
And,
what
I don't know what.
Which one to take?
Draw your name out. What do they do? Just draw your name out?
Son-in-law and my grandson.
Cletus, what do they do?
Figured
Just
I
draw
could
your
guess that
name
didn't
out
right.
or what? Or you
Yeah,
have
I
to
can't
buy it?
remember how they do it. They give you a ticket when you buy
Oh,
it.
okay.
I think you deposit that.
Oh, okay.
Last
You probably
man-
put your name on it.
Yeah.
Last man standing.
Hey, Nick. And that over.
Ronnie,
Is the mayor gonna be here or not here?
I don't think so.
he won't.
He's at a dinner or something. I think. He had to go with that.
Hey, how you
5:30.
doing? Eddie, I guess it's about, oh yeah, it's past. Might well just go ahead,
All right.
go through the whole thing.
The list looks long, but it probably won't take very long to get through everything. The first item, all I'm doing is, letting you guys know that rezoning on 1616 Blue Jay Road. Right at the intersection of Blue Jay and Watson.
Oh, okay.
On the left-hand side.
Yeah.
The planning commission waived their public hearing and provided their recommendation of approval, so that will be on the agenda next meeting for you guys.
What are they doing there?
Just wanted to rezone
The property, yeah.
the vacant field
Yeah.
and the house.
Okay.
It's not the buildings along Watson.
Okay.
Do we have to have a public hearing, don't we, council? So I'll have to set that to the next
Is that
meeting.
inconsistent with the rest of the,
The surrounding areas are actually,
what's that?
It's actually consistent. I was concerned about the same thing, but A2 is
it's all
Predominant-
A2 and residential.
predominantly
and
around
then
through there.
just those 4 lots on the corner are B2 or B1.
This is two of the 4 lots
Yeah.
you're looking to convert back from B to A.
Yeah.
And my question to you and the planning commission, you answered it, was why not just keep it B and do a variance for the building? You want to put a pole barn type
Yeah.
building up?
Let's put a full bar on
Right.
on the front
That's really the motive for that. And I ask also about agricultural use, and aside from a handful of chickens, I don't think they're gonna do anything else with it, so.
So that was just a heads up, that will be on the agenda for you guys. And then the next one, was the repeal of ordinance 11689, that's the one regarding the Port Authority property out on James Parkway.
Yeah.
I just have the legislative request for that. Sitting here, I want to present to you guys.
We've never been able to figure out why they,
You know, it's the way it is.
It's not, I have a little description of it.
There's no reason why not.
Why don't you sign it? I'm shaking so bad I can't sign it.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
All right.
I was gonna say, if we didn't do it now, I'm sure the Port Authority will do it down the road, so.
Yeah. Has to go to the mayor, I guess. The mayor has to
Have to
sign
get the mayor
it.
to sign this thing.
Huh?
Have to get the mayor to sign this thing.
Yeah.
Keep it done. Moving right along. The development regulations that John Geller and I, and actually Nick and John Ackerman put together for utilities within condominium developments. The planning commission reviewed those and they agreed with the changes that we wanted to make. So, that's gonna be coming back as well. Actually, I think,
That is regarding
Yeah.
that they're put in properly.
Yeah, putting in.
Not get into a mess like is up there at,
Hopewell.
no, not Hopewell, but
Village of River Oaks.
River Oaks.
Village
yeah.
of River Oaks.
Village of River Oaks.
It's a train wreck up there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm, so that's just a little
Head off
proactive
another
approach.
train wreck.
You want Brian to sign that one as well?
Yeah, let him decide, because
You all right with
I
that?
think a mess. You okay with that?
So you can't read my signature either, and I'm not shaking either.
Yeah, but it looks like a sine wave when I do it. There was a guy called me over the weekend, and I think you and John were involved with it. It's right on the, when you come down Partridge and you turn on Point to go toward 30th Street on that curve there. I forget the guy's name, but they was arguing over the guy, his driveway is right close to the other guy's property, and the other guy had been fussing over it, and I guess it came to a head the other day, and he called me, and I told him, I said, well, I said, you need to call Eddie. I said, he knows about it, and John, and I said, first of all, you need to call Morrison, and he'll guide you on if you need an attorney or not. So,
So I should get married.
You know where it's at?
so I just thought I'd give you a
You know
heads
where
up
it's at?
on it, I just have to think about it.
Where is that?
Eugene,
Where's it at?
it's on Field Point, when you know, you come down Partridge from up to the apartments, you know, from Andover.
Turn left.
Okay.
When you get to Field Point, you turn left, and it's right around on the inside of the curve around
That's
there.
either I know you got about.
Big fuss, and I didn't want to get involved with it.
They've called a couple of times.
Yeah.
Alright. The next item on the agenda, the curb cut specifications. Right now, there's nothing that prohibits someone from taking a foundation drain or a storm drain and just dumping the water out onto the roadway or on, well, we can't do it on the sidewalk, but out on the roadway. And in the wintertime, it becomes an issue for freezing. So, Bob Geller and I think he informed you guys of this at his meeting, but we got together and put some specifications, in
Where they have to
place
put them into the.
make them either,
into
the way it's
storm
written,
drains
it's
or-
either if a storm drain is available, they have to tie into it. If a ditch is there, they have to dump into that. And if neither are available, they can't daylight it, I think past like 10 or 15 feet from the house.
Oh,
So
okay.
basically everything has time to soak.
Okay.
That's something that we put together. I'm assuming I have to take it to the planning commission to.
Is that something that you checked in with other cities about and stuff?
We looked at a couple of different things here and there.
Because I thought that's what stormwater was for, was to take the runoff from driveways and houses and stuff.
Well, we're still allowing to put it in the stormwater or a storm system. We just don't want it dumped out onto the roadway and creating ice dams. And so that's the intent.
Because there's a lot of houses in Southgate and up in the Greenbrier addition and stuff. They really don't have any other choices. And some of those yards get soft and wet because they weren't cut in
Properly.
originally.
Yeah.
And we get calls up there all the time because the yards get soft and wet and it starts getting that odor and they think it's sewer backup in their yards and stuff, and all it is run off from the, the downspouts and so forth.
Last winter, the one we had a lot of freezing, I know they called me up there once. And I could see the point about to make it, because this whole street, almost 3/4 of the street was covered in ice, the guy had it coming out over the top of his curb.
Yeah.
And it was, if he'd went the other way, he'd been close to a drain, down, goes down under there in the storm sewer. He'd been all right, but where he put it out was right all, no way the water would run uphill to the storm sewer drain.
Eddie, is this gonna be written in such a way that, like, either you or someone gives permission to let the people
Yeah, it
cut in
would
the
be
future? I mean,
either
like,
on,
yeah, okay, where like, they would come and say, I wanna do this, and you could look at it and say, yeah, it's okay to do it, or no, it's not, kind of situation, okay, all right.
Is there gonna be some grandfathering in this, or you go?
it would be from here on out, basically.
So everybody that's got this stuff, they're not gonna have a period of time
No.
to bring it up to these specs?
That's not how we wrote it.
Okay.
It's just from here on out.
Eddie, what happens though if we have an individual, like Nick was saying, that has nowhere to put it? I mean, there's no options other than I gotta dump it out in the road. Is the way you're writing the ordinance allow you to give them that variance, or are they gonna have to come request a variance in order for that to happen and show a hardship, whatever? I mean, I'm just kinda curious if they should have the ordinance written so it gives you the authority to say, you know what, this poor guy has nowhere to put his water. I mean, it's just flat out, it's gotta
Well,
go down.
in Greenbrier, there
That's
are
what I thought
storm
I just
sewers.
asked, that's what I thought I
Yeah.
said.
No.
Yeah,
Wait,
but the
ask.
people just,
Well, that-
they never put them out into it.
Well, a lot of the
A lot of-
contractors, what the
I don't think-
contractor.
I mean, like in Newark, it's the engineer
Run
gets
it out
permission to
the
let him do
road.
it.
And I think what
Okay.
he thought
When
you
they
were
put the
asking
curb
is,
in, put the
they're
road
gonna come to
in,
him for approval,
a lot
they
of
can put it
them
down
cut
into
in,
the
but they're right
where it
there.
places.
Yeah.
So they.
I think the way he's writing the ordinance is it's just not allowed to go out in the street
So,
anymore at all.
if,
Yeah, the way
if
that
that's
it was written
redone
up
like it
was
should be up there,
if a storm
if
sewer
there
is
is
available,
something coming
they have
out,
to tie
there'll be
into
a
it.
cut before that. new
If there is
curb
no
is put
storm
in there.
sewer, but there's a drainage ditch, they have to dump
Which
into that.
that's
And
what's
then if
gonna happen.
neither of those are available,
Cause that,
they have to basically
Greenbrier,
daylight it in
curbs,
their yard,
gutters,
so
and
that it has
streets
time to
more
disperse
than
the
any
grass,
cuts. You know, they
rather
talk
than
about,
out to the road,
so
keeping it away from
what's
the
it, Green
sidewalk.
Valley Drive?
Okay.
They've totally prevented it from putting it
Greenbrier
into the
south.
gutter.
Yeah, see, I think that'd be where you guys could give permission to go into the gutter if it's not gonna be a problem or anything. It doesn't make any sense to not be able to, you not be
We
able
could put a little
to say
caveat in
that.
You
there
know,
You know, it ought to just be the approval, you know, of the engineer, the, you know, whatever, the representative, whatever.
one of the things that's gonna have to be looked at is Greenbrier itself. There are storm sewers in there. And a lot of people have those, like Nick said, have those things going out, but they're not. When they put the daggone curbs in there, the contractors never made a cut for it to get down into the storm sewer. So if we go in there and are gonna put curbs and gutters and do some paving, whenever, hopefully, I think that's gonna be one thing that's gonna have to be looked at, that they get those things tied in. That's what I think, yeah.
My brother-in-law is, I don't remember who, John had an engineers go up, he lives up in Greenbrier. And the neighbor, he wouldn't do it the way they told him to, but Ron used that 6-inch holes in it, you know, put it down there, and by the time it got down to the curb, it had dissipated. And this
Out in the
guy,
yard.
he just wanted to dig a ditch on top of the ground, you know, and that, it's, the engineer that did that up there, he had some good ideas, you know, maybe worked on Ron's, because he followed it.
Yeah.
We could probably put something in a little catch-all, just in case, but I mean, I think most people will have either a drainage ditch,
Yeah.
a storm sewer, or enough room to daylight it in their yard.
The only reason I bring that up, I think about like the situation we had on 79. There's a gentleman behind, remember that parking lot we put up with water?
Oh,
Across
yeah.
from the old Guinness?
Yeah.
And then there's a guy that lives down behind, the first house behind him, because I went over to his house, because he was all upset about the water problem, and, I mean, I sympathized with him, but I don't know what we're gonna do, but I can tell you one thing, his pumps didn't quit. That was the menagerie of pipes and sumps down there, and if he daylighted that in his yard, it's just coming back at him. You see what I'm saying? It's just, he's just gonna take it all back on. If he can't, you know, we're gonna, that's, so I guess I just don't want to see you tie your own hands. I'm not trying to be a pain in the butt, but I think that's what Tim's getting at too. Don't tie your own hands. At
Yeah.
least you will have the authority. If you don't give yourself the authority to allow somebody to put that
Right.
into the gutter because you see that they have no choice, then you're gonna make them go to the BZBA, wait 30 days and all that, when if you write the ordinance right, it gives you all the power in the world.
As long as you're fair and consistent, you need to have case-by-case authority to do it.
Exactly.
Right.
Don't tie your own
Right,
hands.
don't tie your hands on
Just be
it.
fair and consistent, case
Yeah,
by case.
right.
If gravity's on the wrong side of this property owner, then we gotta give him some consideration.
That help you, Nick, or you better with, at least,
Yeah,
they have the option?
Yeah.
If they don't have a choice?
Yeah, yeah. And I'm just, some of the, like I said, of course, it may not be that big of a problem, but I know, like I said, Southgate, some of these places, you
Yeah.
got really, really small lots. I mean, you're pretty, never see a problem like that in River Oaks or
Right.
Forest Hills, but some places where you get real small lots and you got curbs and a lot of the places too that don't have curbs, that have open storm drain, you know what I mean? And it's easier to go to that than it is.
Up in Forest Hills, there's a lot of people that have run them right into the ditch, you know.
Mhm.
At least there's ditches there to get the water
Right.
away.
You barely have a swale in some areas of high-density housing like South.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You barely have a swale.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be lucky to be able to get it 15 foot from my home without being on my neighbors
Yeah.
in Southgate. Like I said, it's already built there, so probably not gonna have a whole lot of trouble, but
Mhm.
I don't know if there's any lots that could be, or future lots that might be that small.
So will I need to take this to the planning commission with
Oh.
the way we propose it? You
And this
guys-
recommendation.
Eddie, where are the curb cut specifications, are they in development regulations, or they, I mean, where's that section added, I mean, to be changed? I mean, I don't know, if it's something we need to.
905.03 and 905.05, they're both in the codified.
Okay, so it is in the codified.
Yeah.
Okay, so
There's
we have to
nothing
change
in
it.
the.
Okay.
905, what is it?
Okay.
905.03.
It makes sense to get this referred to planning commission, let us kinda tear
Yeah.
it apart and come up with some language that
Yeah.
is fair and equitable
Yeah.
for everybody and bring it back for recommendation.
Yeah, I think you make stuff a general rule, you do it this, this, and this, but if there's a special hardship or whatever, or as a case by case, then,
Give us the new.
yeah,
You
the
need some
department
language,
can,
yeah, the
Because
language.
there could be special circumstances that, we would want it to go a different route than what that says, you know what I'm saying? It's just, I can't think of an example right at the moment, but,
What he just described, what
Yeah.
Brian just described there off of Power Master's property, where off
Yeah.
of Radian Drive, where he.
Where the road might be higher.
yeah,
Don't
or it'd be
worry
better
about
to
it.
pump it
Just-
uphill and get it
yeah.
into something that way.
I know, Eddie, you just let me do mine last summer, you don't remember.
Yeah.
I asked you if I could do it, and the reason I did it was, I poured my front porch wider. So, to get it out away from my front porch, far enough out into the yard, it was gonna run out on the sidewalk.
Mm.
So I didn't want the sidewalk to get icy,
Right.
Yeah.
so. it was-
Well, the current code allows you to do this, so.
Yeah, the current code does.
I guess there's a couple spots up in River Oaks where they have some ice that's built up. I think
It goes right out on the
Circle
street,
has it.
it goes right out on the street.
And on this case, I think we ought to go in and fix them and change that. And it's more with sump pumps than it is with
Yeah.
just normal
Yeah.
downspout drains and
Yeah.
undated drains. And there almost maybe ought to be a separate thing for sump pumps or something. Because some people's sump pumps can run
Oh, yeah.
24/7, 365 days a year. It's almost like they're dewatering the thing. And I think sometimes those people, if they just change their float system,
Right.
could probably not pump as much and
Yeah,
stuff, but,
fill it
they
with-
don't know. But that's, could be a big problem, If they're pumping all the time.
No question right there about something.
Right. I'm good with that.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. The next two items, we can actually combine those. The computer that I currently have gives me fits all the time. trying to run the GIS on that thing, it's always freezing, it's always telling me it's out of memory. And it's just makes me want to bang my head against the wall. But I got some quotes from Rich, and he spec'd out a computer that is recommended by Esri's with all the different software and the RAM and everything and the memory on it, and he came up with a price of $2,200 for the computer and for the maintenance or the installation of it.
So how long is this maintenance?
No, it's just
It's
to
installation.
install it.
Or install.
Just,
He
okay.
has to
Install it.
take my current computer, back it up,
Oh, yeah.
wipe it clean, and then prepare it for Charlie to use, because we're gonna recycle it. Because he won't be operating GIS, obviously. And then, this new one will be brought in.
So your
And I-
current budget doesn't allow for expenditure like this?
Well, we do, but back in December, when the mayor and I were discussing the budget, we put $1,000 in that line item because Rich just gave us a round number for a computer.
Okay.
And since then, he, I think, dug into it a little more. And it's.
So you got
a
the
little
1,000, you
extra.
need another 1,100 bucks, is that what you're saying?
No, I need 2,200. There's already 1,000 in there.
So you need 2,200 on top of it?
Yeah, the quote.
So you got a
Maybe I missed
$3,200 system you're putting together here?
The quote for the computer was $2,447.03. And then there's a $900 bill for, and that's estimated on the high end, but that's for the setup and installation of everything. So it may not end up that much.
Is he charged by the hour, or how does he charge?
That's hourly.
Sounds a little high on the surface, you must have some.
Well, trust me, I questioned it.
Oh, I bet.
But
Is it a, I don't know what y'all are gonna do.
Do we look at other estimates or just go
I'm
with
thinking what
what
we have in
he
our
says?
office that these are GIS and stuff.
we've
like
always
what Lindsay's
just
got.
went with them.
I think we just bought a new one, we don't need to that.
And I did question the price on both of those, trust me. And he spec'd out the computer based on Esri's recommendations and said that that's what he feels comfortable selling, so that it works into the foreseeable future with requirements of Esri.
What is Esri stand for? Something about surveying or something?
No,
It's the
for,
company name.
For GIS, I can't remember what it is,
Okay.
environmental. I couldn't.
I didn't know either now.
I just always call it Esri.
It's a software company.
The software company?
Yeah,
that
It's the
basically.
leading
handles-
company in like
so that you
GIS
can
kind of
use-
stuff.
It'll handle your GPS.
They're the ones that created the GIS program.
Okay.
And they're the ones that provide all the maintenance, everything for it, and
Okay.
sell it, the rights to it.
You gotta have it, you gotta have it. It's, I mean, if this guy's.
You also have
handling
CAD on
all
there?
this
Do you
stuff.
have CAD on there? Do you have,
We don't have that program.
you know?
That's all right.
Yeah, I just, because it sounds high, but I don't know anything about
I
the
understand.
requirements or, you know, what the difference is between what he needs as opposed to the general.
I concur, $3,200 bucks
Yeah.
on the surface
Yeah.
sounds like
Yeah.
a lot of money for a
And I'm thinking only with the
computer.
$900, because I just had a computer crash and they had to wipe things out and they had to back things up on a separate hard drive so I could put on my new computer. And I paid $65 to Alpha Link, so I was just like, I don't know.
I have an email explaining everything, because I questioned the hours, because he, $900 at their rate, the $75 an hour came to 12 hours, is what he quoted. And he said that it would probably be less than that, but he just wants to err on the side of caution, on the high end.
If you have a email or something that tells the specs of that computer, if you'd send that to me.
I have that.
Okay, well, I can have Lindsay look, because I know the kind of the computer she uses at work is really high power GIS stuff. Yeah, she has all kinds of bells and whistles on it and stuff, and she got it not too long ago, I don't think. And then Don just got a new computer this last year. And I know he got one that could do everything. I'm not sure what, I know they bought it online, they went and inspected everything they needed for it and stuff. And I don't know what they paid for them, but I don't think it was that much, but I may be wrong. I don't remember, you know, so, I mean, I don't want to nickel and dime it or anything, but just so I can see the requirements, because I know she had to have special requirements to run, and hers is
Well, trust
super,
me,
super fast.
My question, I didn't wanna come and ask you guys for an extra $2,300 or whatever, but.
Believe me, when you get these big files, like the aerial photos and all that kind of stuff in there and stuff, it takes a lot of.
I just know my system right now, I don't know what's wrong with my computer, but it freezes on me all the time.
Yeah,
Almost
that's
every
the-
time I get in there.
You're
Yeah, you
asking
can't
it to
do
do
it.
too much when it can't.
She's got a backup system already built into it.
When you have
If it
property
crashes, what
overlays like
happens
you
if it
got.
crashes?
Oh,
it's a lot
our
of-
data's backed up on the server.
Right, so
storage
this is
space.
automatic backup.
Yeah.
There's no reason why he gets us that information that we can at least let it go to a first reading.
Yeah,
I mean, so.
Yeah.
Get it started, get the ball rolling.
Just get the ball rolling and
Yeah.
then investigate it.
It'd just be nice to compare.
Yeah, just so, because we don't have a clue.
Yeah.
Right, but it sounds fine.
Does anyone else want that, or?
Tim, just give us some feedbacks on that.
Yeah, I'll just,
Yeah.
How it
send it to me
should-
tomorrow or
how
next
it-
day or whatever, and I'll just have
You got
Lindsay and Don
something to
look at
compare
it
to.
and,
That'd be
you know,
good.
what they have and use and stuff. I know she uses 64-bit, but I think Don uses 32, and I don't know what that is and stuff, and then there's different requirements and stuff, so. But-
Run off a copy of that, so
You want a copy of it before we leave? I mean, I can
Get
get
a
you.
copy of it.
Oh,
No, just do it
oh, if
that
you got a
way.
copy of it, yeah, I could just get a copy.
You
Take
can
it
actually
with me.
keep that if you want.
You
I
gonna have
have
a
it on
copy of
the
that?
computer.
No,
Yeah.
Just take that
Okay.
and run with it then.
Check it out.
All right.
Your laptop, we're looking at was, just a new laptop was $1,200.
Yeah. Yeah, they're all.
Hey, they don't come cheap.
Oh, you do a lot of color, you use color too, that's more expensive.
It's a monopoly. It's just what it is.
I trust his judgment, so I don't ever question it. Okay.
And then the last two items are just updates for you guys. The Green Valley Drive project that we received community development block grant money for. The engineer has been given the go-ahead to begin engineering that, so they'll be out surveying that property all along the road. They're probably out there today recently, but they're planning on having plans ready for bid in May of this year, so they can start construction in June. We took into consideration school and that kind of thing, so that's why we stopped at that time frame. And the only stipulation is that it has to be done by the end of this year. That shouldn't be too long of a project, maybe 3 months. So they'll have all new curb and gutter, they'll have new asphalt, and then a couple new drainage structures and storm put up there.
You know, eliminate any curb cuts up there at all? Not possible?
It's not so fun. It'd be nice.
Yeah. Tunnel.
Line some of those spots.
Yeah.
They're not gonna put the curb cuts in?
Huh?
Yeah, we're not gonna, cause we aren't going outside of the extents of the curbs. So they'd have to redo their parking lots if they had any interior islands separating.
Are there any cases where there were not interior islands? There's 2 curb cuts and we can combine them into one
Could look at it.
and save some money that way?
I could bring it up.
I just remember, just a menagerie of curb cuts up there.
There's a lot of curb cuts on that Green Valley.
Mhm. Got them every
Well,
other-
what,
There's a lot of curb
A lot of curb
cuts.
cuts.
Yeah,
Every,
way out.
every apartment building got like, it seems like they have 2 sets.
Yeah.
It's just like, can't we shrink this a little If it makes sense. It's not a huge hardship on the tenants and ownership.
Probably wouldn't know.
Are block rate gonna cover the estimates at this point?
No, we're
Engineering?
paying for the engineering and the estimates, and they awarded us $180,000, and our share of it's only gonna be like maybe 50. So, getting a pretty good deal on that. And then the final item is the Linville Road intersection realignment. We had our project kickoff meeting the other day, and they're currently started surveying, so you guys know all about that. They've been on this property. So if you see any staking or anything like that, they're just marking out different utilities, any driveway access points, fences, trees, stuff like that, stuff they might have to deal with if they start regrading due to the footprint of the project. The stage 1 plan, which will be basically the establishment of the footprint, what they're gonna need to, in order to complete the project. That should be established and submitted to ODOT by September of this year. And then we should, if everything goes to plan, have clearance to go on to the next stage of the plan review at the end of September. So it's kind of just a little snapshot of where we're at.
And what is that next step after that?
Once they do that, they'll start actually designing the land.
So is the grand plan to implement this at the time we're repaving Hopewell and?
No, this project isn't
Totally
going to be
separate?
until,
17.
he
17.
said, first quarter of 19.
Oh.
So it'd be between January and March when they sell it.
It stays
They're
in
gonna do
New
it
York
in
for
the
3
winter?
years, Doug.
They're gonna do it in the winter?
Well, that's when they're gonna sell it, and it'll
Oh,
probably be
I was gonna
spring
say,
and
how the
summer.
hell are you gonna do that in the winter time?
Is the plan for an additional turn lane or 2 additional lanes or what?
It's to add a westbound left turn lane.
That's it. Okay. So the other lane will just be a straight and right.
Yeah, and then put up lights to coordinate.
Turning signal light, right? Both ways. People going south on 13 and one's going north on 13.
So Linville side will mirror what's on the Hopewell side of the intersection. And it'll all be lined up. So there isn't a jog. And we're gonna look at addressing the sightline issue on the right hand side, or on the east side of the intersection, the dip in the road. If you're on the west side of the intersection.
Right.
And you're approaching the intersection as you're looking, there's a point where you don't see anything. The other side of the
Yes.
intersection sits so low.
Yeah.
We look at bringing it up.
Oh, are they?
That's actually those people that are gonna go north on 13, that are headed east. Those are the ones, some of them you can't see back there by the dog pound.
Yeah, that's
Is that
about the
what I'm
point
talking
where-
about? Yeah.
That's the viewpoint, but the part that they're raising is on the other side of the intersection, up in front of your house. Between Old Linville Road and 13.
Yeah.
Where all the guardrail is, it kind of slides
Mhm.
down.
Right.
Come down. So if you're gonna look at it,
There's a lot. Well, that, where that guardrail is, and that dip down in there, that's a hell of a lot of fill in there, baby.
You have to
Huh?
do some engineering on that one.
I hope to shout.
And then obviously they're gonna pave everything from the
Mhm.
intersection.
And it's supposed to be in 19.
Oops, you gotta jump through, just add a simple little turn lane.
Okay.
Very
I think they moved that 19 because money was
Crazy.
Yeah.
Anybody have any questions for Eddie or?
It's the